Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Hart for those of you that are new. And today I'll be breaking down this Monday Night Football Showdown slate here on DraftKings. We got the Vikings, we got the Bears. Should hopefully be a good one this year with Ben Johnson as the new head coach for the Bears. So super pumped to be breaking down this slate. It's $1 million up top to first place, so a lot of money to be won. Let's get a takedown tonight. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And let's jump right into it. Before I get to it, just want to say fantasy point projections in my model will be coming out this week, so stay tuned for that. Follow my Twitter at HeartDFS to get a sneak peek of that and other fantasy DFS tidbits and news and all that stuff on my Twitter. But yeah, really appreciate all the love and support. Right now, it's a 1.5 point spread. It's a 43.5 point game total, so kind of low scoring. It's favored for the Vikings right now. But yeah, we'll see how that kind of plays out tonight. It's coming off of an amazing Sunday Night Football game between the Ravens and the Bills. That was just a great watch. Couldn't be more excited going into this Monday Night Football game. Hopefully it's the same. Hopefully it's some good offense, maybe some good defense, maybe a little bit mix of both. Wouldn't mind. All I care about is getting that $1 million to first place. So I'll be talking through kind of how I see the slate playing out, and hopefully taking down that milli maker. But yeah, hopping into the slates here, let's go on over to the flex prices. So as we can see, Justin Jefferson is going to be the most expensive player on the slate. 10.8K. Obviously, we have a new quarterback for the Viking side, J.J. McCarthy. We'll get to that in a second, but when we hop over to the depth chart, as we can see, J.J. McCarthy, QB1. Running back room, Aaron Jones, and they do have the addition of Jordan Mason this year as running back 2. And then for the wide receiver room, obviously we have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, they traded for him. Obviously they have a good amount of wide receivers, hurt or suspended in terms of Rondale got hurt, Rondale Moore got hurt, Jordan Addison is out. Jalen Naylor was hurt for a little bit, but he seems to be good to go. So obviously Justin Jefferson is going to be that top dog. Adam Thielen is there as a wide receiver 2, and then Jalen Naylor as well. And then moving on to the tight end room, T.J. Hockenson, tight end 1. Josh Oliver will mix in a little bit there as tight end 2. On the Bears side, obviously Caleb Williams, QB1. In terms of running back situation, we have DeAndre Swift as running back 1. Roshan Johnson is questionable, so keep an eye on that, because if he's out, Kyle Monaghay will be the backup running back, RB2, and he could get a good amount of work tonight. In terms of the wide receivers, DJ Moore, wide receiver 1. Rome Odunze is going to make a push for that this year. So they both look really, really good. And then in terms of the kind of the wide receiver 3/4 situation, Luther Burden and Olamide Zacharias should get a ton of run there. So there's a lot to like in terms of the pass catchers on both sides. Tight end situation for the Bears, Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, going to split a good amount of snaps there. I see the Bears running a ton of four wide receiver sets as well as double tight end sets. I mean, with Ben Johnson as the coach and offense coach, I expect them to run a ton of trick plays, get a lot of people involved. So I think this is definitely a slate where we don't really know how it's going to work out in terms of the Bears, snap counts as well as kind of targets in terms of their wide receiver core and even the running back situation. Between DeAndre Swift, if Roshan's out, then Kyle Monaghay is kind of our running back 2, which I think allows us to kind of get a little bit riskier, a little bit more contrarian in terms of who we want to kind of throw into the captain spot as well as who we want to throw into the flex spot. So I think this is a perfect opportunity and perfect game where we can kind of get a little bit different and kind of get a little bit more aggressive in terms of those contrarian spots until, week 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, once we start getting more data points and data sets of like who the Bears want to target and how their offense is going to run for the kind of the remaining season. But hopping over here to Justin Jefferson, as I mentioned, 10.8K right now for the flex price tag. As I mentioned, it's just going to come down to kind of what you think his relationship with J.J. McCarthy is going to be. Obviously, being the best wide receiver or tied for the best with Jamar Chase. Really hard not to like this guy at 10.8K. Not too expensive compared to kind of the rest of the guys there in the 9K range. So I absolutely love me some Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to absolutely eat. Obviously, Jalen Johnson, the cornerback for the Bears, is really, really good. But still, I think, Justin Jefferson is one of those guys you can move around all across the field. And I think he's just an absolute eat against this Bears defense, who is, pretty decent, especially, playing here at home at Soldier Field for the Bears. I just love me some Justin Jefferson there at the top as my captain play. For the Bears side, obviously we just DJ Moore is kind of the highest priced person, 9.6K. For the Bears, it's really going to come down to kind of who you think is going to get targeted. DJ Moore, obviously kind of that gadget guy, will be involved in a lot of trick plays, really good at screens and kind of taking it for, yards after the catch. Rome Odunze is going to be more so that, deep ball, kind of all over the field type wide receiver. He looks to be a lot more involved this year. A lot better, chemistry between him and Caleb going into year 2 for both of them. So I really like Rome Odunze there at 8,000 over DJ Moore at 9.6, just because of the cheaper price tag. He's going to get targeted a lot, and he should be running a bunch of different routes. So I think I slightly prefer Rome over DJ Moore, but they both look really, really good here as kind of the alphas of this Bears offense. In terms of Caleb and JJ McCarthy, I think Caleb's just a little bit more, just a little bit safer. If you're deciding between picking one of the quarterbacks, I think I'd rather go to Caleb just because he has that rushing upside. They should pass the ball a lot more compared to JJ McCarthy, who is, this is kind of his rookie season because obviously he sat out last year. I think they could rely on the run game more there with Aaron Jones, they got Jordan Mason as well. So I think they could really just rely on play action, running the game, pounding the ball, dumping it off to JJ or TJ Hawkinson. Maybe it's some Adam Thielen. So I think for them, their game script might be a little bit more just ground and pound and then pass when they need to. And for the Bears, it's just going to be airing out the ball just because they don't really have that strong of a run game as of right now. Who knows? Maybe that could change heading into this game. But yeah, between the two quarterbacks, I think I slightly prefer Caleb, but they both look decent. JJ McCarthy, I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of those guys who scrambles for like 20 to 30 yards a game. He is a decently mobile quarterback as we saw in college. Moving on down to the running back situation for the Bears, 8.8K for DeAndre Swift seems like a lot. It seems like a pretty expensive price tag here. Obviously, he's going to be running back 1, but there's always that question of like, is he going to see all the snaps? Like, let's say Roshan Johnson is out. They're going to mix in, Kyle Monaghay for a ton of snaps. It's just like, how much do you think? I don't know. He is a decently talented running back. Not the best, pass pro block. So we'll have to wait and see. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people go to Kyle Monaghay over DeAndre Swift. If that happens, wouldn't mind taking a shot at Swift. But 8.8K, it just feels very, very expensive for a guy who could be not heavily involved in terms of the running game, but more so the pass game. So that's kind of the issue there with me, is just the price tag in terms of I'd rather just pay up for one of the quarterbacks, get to DJ Moore, or just pay down for a guy like Rome Odunze, who probably has the same floor, if not higher ceiling, or go to guys like Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. So for that reason, I'm out on DeAndre Swift as of right now. Would rather wait a few games just to see kind of how his role plays out. But if he's going to come in at like 20% owned or even less, I do think there's a valid reason to play him just because of that ownership disparity, compared to the other players. So keep that in mind when you're looking at DeAndre Swift. I'd just check out the ownership across the board. And if he's coming in pretty low owned, obviously he will have some touchdown equity when they get to the goal line situation, especially if Roshan Johnson is out. But yeah, once again, 8.8K for him. It just feels a little bit too expensive for me. As I mentioned, Rome Odunze, I really, really like him this year. 8,000 seems like a pretty solid price tag to get him at. And then I do really, really like Aaron Jones here. 7.4K should, have kind of a split backfield there with Jordan Mason. But I think Aaron Jones is obviously he's older, but he's going to be a little bit more explosive in terms of the pass catching upside there. So 7.4K, he always seems to go off against the Bears. I really, really like him there at that price tag. Jordan Mason, it really just depends on ownership. Like if Aaron Jones is going to come in at like 15, 20% more owned than Jordan Mason, wouldn't mind, going a little bit more contrarian and taking Jordan Mason, but I just love the upside there for Aaron Jones at 7.4K in terms of the pass catching there. Moving on down to TJ Hawkinson, I think he should be heavily involved. Obviously, he kind of hurt the first half of the season there, kind of came on strong there the second half, so he should have some decent chemistry there with JJ McCarthy, just as kind of more so a security blanket in this game. So at 6.6K, that's a decent price tag to get TJ Hawkinson, who should be pretty heavily involved. And I do think he's a top 5 tight end in the league. Obviously, he's dealt with a lot of injuries the past 2 years, which has kind of kept him out of that conversation. But when he's fully healthy and fully ready to go, he's one of the best. So at 6.6K, he looks pretty solid. Moving on down here to the tight end situation for the Bears. Colston Loveland priced at 5.8K, and then Cole Kmet is priced at 4K. I think the price difference kind of makes them about even in terms of appeal towards me. Colston Loveland obviously is going to be more so that pass catching tight end, stretching the field, and Cole Kmet's going to be more so that kind of the short yardage routes, more so pass blocking, run blocking. So that's going to ride their price that differently. For me, I think if you're going to go to one of the Bears tight ends, take a shot on Loveland over Cole Kmet. I don't think you need to kind of get different there by going to Cole Kmet. His target share has really dropped in terms of, last year going into this year. And with the addition of, Luther Burden as well as Colston Loveland, I just don't think there's really a need to force Cole Kmet in your lineups. Like I'd rather take a shot on one of the Bears wide receivers, or even take a shot on one of the running backs over a guy like Cole Kmet. So that's my thought process there. So Colston Loveland at 5.8K, I think it's a solid price tag. But for me, if I'm going to play tight end, I think I'd rather get to a guy like TJ Hawkinson just for a little bit more money. In terms of the defenses, I don't love the price tag there at 5.4K for the Vikings defense. I think that's the most expensive price tag we've seen so far across the board. For showdown slates, I know it's only been week one. There's only been 3 or 4 showdown slates so far, but still, I don't love that price tag. They also do have Harrison Smith. I believe he's out, which is a big deal. The best safety there for the Vikings, so keep that in mind. The secondary there for the Vikings is a little bit depleted, so I just don't love that price tag at 5.4K. You really need a good amount of sacks and turnovers, and then most likely a defensive touchdown there at 5.4K to pay off that price tag. So I'm going to stay away from that for me. The kickers, as I mentioned, every year, kickers should be heavily involved in DFS lineups in terms of showdowns, so they both look pretty solid there at their price tags of 5,000 and 4.8K. Once again, these quarterbacks are still a little bit iffy, unreliable, which means there should be a decent amount of opportunity to get some kicks if they do get into kind of the red zone situation. And then in terms, I think this is where the slate is going to be decided. Kind of these secondary value plays, Luther Burden, Adam Thielen, those main 2 guys. It's like, what's going to happen in terms of this pass catching offense? Obviously, they just traded for Adam Thielen. We know he's like a safety blanket in the slot. He's only been there for 2 weeks. Is he going to have enough time to kind of develop that chemistry with J.J. McCarthy? But at 4.4K, I think that's a decent price tag to take a shot on him, depending on the ownership. And same thing with Luther Burden. They spent a second-round pick on him. They were saying he's a first-round talent. One of those guys. He's like a mini DJ Moore coming into this season. So how is he going to be involved in this offense? Obviously, you have DJ Moore, you have Rome Odunze, you have Olamide. He should get some run as kind of that wide receiver 3/wide receiver 4. So for me, in terms of Luther Burden, I think I'm going to fade him unless kind of my lineup only allows me with 5,000 left over. Then I think about picking him. But right now, I think there's just better pieces to pick. Like, as I mentioned, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, even DeAndre Swift, even Loveland. I think I'd rather pick over Luther Burden, but he should be pretty involved as a wide receiver/wide receiver 4. I think they're going to at least get him 3 to 4 looks this game, if not more. So 4.6, I think there's a case you can definitely look to him as a strong flex spot and possibly even a risky captain spot if you do want to go that route. Same thing with Adam Thielen. I think they're kind of, the price is the same, and I think both of their roles are kind of the same in terms of really don't know what's going to happen. They're kind of the biggest question marks on the slates, but they both have a good amount of upside just because of their ability. Obviously, Adam Thielen's been in the league for a long time, so with a guy like Bryce Young, a quarterback who struggled, Adam Thielen still did really well. So there is that option there to go to either one of them. I don't mind them. Sorry, I wish I had a better sense of who to go to. I think it's just a coin flip. And then that's really it for me. Jalen Naylor going to be that wide receiver 3 for the Vikings. More so a dart throw play. I don't love the price tag of 3.6 just because of the uncertainty and the malice defeat above them. The Bears defense 3.4K. I don't mind taking a risky dart throw on him. Obviously dealing with J.J. McCarthy. They could press him. They could blitz him. I think there's obviously that opportunity for turnovers. I'd rather take a shot at them at 3.4K than the Vikings defense at 5K. And then for the running back situation, we'll wait and see kind of what happens here with Roschon Johnson. Obviously, if he misses, that's a good sign for Kyle Monaghay as running back 2. And, it'd be a little bit of a a knockdown to a guy like DeAndre Swift. But if he's out, I think it obviously makes DeAndre Swift more viable, and it makes a guy like Kyle Monaghan is kind of a value play there, 2.8K, pretty valuable as well. But it could be one of those scenarios where maybe Ben Johnson loves DeAndre Swift. We don't know yet, and Kyle Monaghan doesn't get a ton of runs. So always keep that in the back of your mind. And as I mentioned, Olamide, if you want to take a dart throw on him, I don't mind, but I think he's going to kind of get the last look in terms of this offense. That's really it for me. Not a ton of value plays. As I mentioned, I'd kind of stop my look at guys like Adam Thielen and Luther Burden. Maybe take a shot on a guy like the Bears defense. But that's really it for me. And it really comes down to the Roschon Johnson question mark. If he is out, obviously you can take a shot on a guy like Kyle. But if he is in, I would kind of leave both Kyle and Roschon alone and, just take a shot on a guy like DeAndre Swift. But in terms of that kind of like a lineup we could build out here, really like Justin Jefferson, and I do really like getting into that Bears, pass catching defense. So I think I wouldn't mind going to Justin Jefferson and a guy like Aaron Jones there, and then just fitting in as many Bears as you can, a guy like Rome, and kind of seeing how the lineup plays out from there. So that's kind of the three main core building blocks for me. Would be Justin Jefferson, Aaron Jones, and Rome Odunze. I think right now, we'll see, but I think Justin Jefferson is my preferred captain. But I wouldn't mind getting into Aaron Jones there in the captain spot because obviously it's going to leave you with a lot more ability to kind of fit more studs in your lineup just due to the price difference. And, Aaron Jones should have a good amount of upside in terms of touchdown equity in the red zone, as well as that pass catching ability, averaging about three catches per game from the backfield. So I like him there as kind of a salary relief option. Throw him Rome, and we'll kind of go with that. So make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, guys. Really appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.